this morning how much the Father loved us. How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that He should give His only Son to make a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of hearing lost. The Father turns His face away, as wounds which mar the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon the cross, my sin upon His shoulders. Ashamed, I hear my mocking voice fall out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held Him there, until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me life. I know that it is finished. I will not boast in anything, no gifts, no power, no wisdom, but I will boast in Jesus Christ, His death and resurrection. Why should I gain from His reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart: His wounds have paid my ransom. But this I know with all my heart: His wounds have paid my ransom. I'll stand with arms high, heart abandoned, in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to You surrendered. All I am is Yours. I'll stand with arms high, heart abandoned, in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to You surrendered. All I am is Yours. I'll stand with arms high, heart abandoned, in awe of the one who gave it all. I'll stand, my soul, Lord, to You surrendered. All I am is Yours. All I am is Yours. All I am is Yours.
Folks, listen, attitude's everything. Attitude speaks of what's going on inside of us. Attitude speaks about our character. Attitude speaks to our testimony as believers in Jesus Christ. Attitude is everything. And in fact, as we look at this text today, you may say, well, are you expecting me to have a perfect attitude? And I want you to hear me clearly. The answer to that is no. There's not a person here that's perfect. We are all in process. But I'll tell you what I do want. I want all of us to have a willingness to work in what God is working in. And if God is working in something, would you be willing to let Him work and you work with Him to work it out? That's my question. Would we be willing to do that? Our attitudes may not be perfect, but if God says work on it, would we be willing to work on it? Growth and maturity in our relationships with each other and with God. So what is this complaining? You know what complaining is? It's simply this. It's a bad attitude. That's what it is. And I want somebody to introduce me to someone who's never complained in their life. Can anybody do that? I think every one of us have complained. I think every one of us has said things we wish we could take back. We've had perspectives on lives that we shouldn't have. But then there's those that you can get around, and listen, the spirit is one of negativity. And if you say, well, that's me, guess what? God wants to reverse that in your life today. Grant Richardson noted this. He said, some Christians are perpetually unhappy. Nothing pleases some folks. Everything is wrong. Nothing's right. All their fingers are thumbs. They are on the negative side of every positive question, on the positive side of every negative question. They're born inside out. They love misery. Their attitude is also contagious. They make everyone else miserable. And if you're feeling dog-tired, it may be that we have growled and grumbled all day long. Let me tell you what, I found myself drawn into by others a spirit of complaining, which leads to a spirit of arguing. We'll look at it in just a second. And there was a time in my life, and it was not some big blatant thing, but God began to show me that my spirit was a negative one in the small things. And I said, God, I'm teaching people to pray. I'm teaching them to seek you. And God convicted me. He said, Mark, you're not even praying correctly. I said, well, how is that, Lord? And he began to show me the little things that were just little comments of complaining that I had that I would express to him, but I wouldn't settle with him. And God took me over to Philipians chapter 4, and he showed me a single word that helped me. And I want to show it to you as well. If you'll let your gentleness be evident to all, the Lord is near. Do not be anxious, which is the word worry, which brings a lot about a lot of complaining in our lives sometimes. But in everything by prayer. Okay, that's good. We're praying. Petition, yes, that's good. But here's the word, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And until we can thank God for wherever we are, we're never going to receive the peace and perspective to understand what he is doing. We may pray about it all day long, but if we're unwilling to thank him, we're never going to receive the peace, the presence, the perspective to go forward trusting him. We've got to say, Lord, if I'm complaining about something, I've got to start thanking you for it before I can get the peace to put it in perspective to move forward in your power. And so I started doing that. The smallest things. I recommend it to everybody that's here, anybody that's watching by TV. Listen, pray about things. But when you pray, don't complain to God in your prayers. And you want to overcome that, you start thanking him.